Namaste. Welcome to Design of Spur Gears, a comprehensive design procedure. Preamble. Mechanical engineering design is the process of optimization of the shape, the size, and material of a component intended to be produced. The course Design of Machine Elements adapts rational design in which the dimensions of a machine component are obtained based on the stresses and strains developed in the machine component, which is subjected to various load conditions. Spur gear is the simplest type of gear. It is also called straight cut gear. The teeth are straight and they are parallel to each other and also parallel to the axis. Design goal. The design of spur gears involves the selection of proper material and arriving at the required size of the gear pair with suitable surface hardness for transmitting the specified power. In a gear pair, the smaller member is called pinion and the larger member is called a gear. In gear drives lesson, we have studied the different types of tooth profiles, namely involute tooth profile, cycloid tooth profile, Wild-Haber-Novikov tooth profile. Out of these three tooth profiles, involute tooth profile is the simplest, and the gears with involute tooth profile are easy to manufacture and they are cheaper. The standard tooth forms are 14.5 degree full depth involute, 20 degree full depth involute and a 20 degree stub tooth involute. Note, it's better to study gear drives in order to understand the following procedure. Design considerations. Beam strength F suffix T FT will discuss later on. Effective load or effective force F effective. Dynamic strength Fs. Dynamic load Fd. Endurance strength Fen. The limiting load for wear simply wear load Fw. For safe design, induced stress must be less than the allowable stress. Dynamic strength must be greater than effective load and dynamic load. Dynamic load must be less than endurance strength and dynamic load must be less than wear load. That is for safe design. To satisfy the above, select proper material and appropriate number of teeth on pinion and gear. Obtain suitable module, face width, pitch diameter and provide proper surface treatment. Pitch diameters for both pinion and gear. Design procedure. Design data handbook followed is authored by Professor K. Mahadevan and Professor K. Balavira Reddy, 4th edition. Let suffix 1 for pinion and 2 for gear. Already discussed, smaller of the gear pair is called the pinion. So usual data available: power P, speed N, and velocity ratio I. Essential data: material of the gear pair. If not given, select suitable material from table 12.7, page 234. After some time, we will see this table 12.7, page given in page 234. And other data are pressure angle and tooth form, class of gear, namely class 1, class 2, and class 3. This also we will see. Minimum number of teeth on pinion Z1. If not given, assume appropriate minimum number of teeth by referring to table 12.4b in page 230. Let us see that. Here we have table 12.4b. So here we have a minimum number of teeth for a different tooth form. So this minimum number of teeth is to avoid interference. For 14.5 degree full depth involute system, 32 is the minimum number of teeth. For 20 degree full depth involute system, 18 is the minimum number of teeth. For 20 degree stub tooth system, it is 14. And I discussed that if the material is not given, we can select materials from this table 12.7, page 234. Cast iron, steels, bronze, phosphor gear, bronze, aluminum, etc. based on the requirement. Note, if the center distance A or pitch line velocity V is given, you are not supposed to assume minimum number of teeth. Center distance A is nothing but d1 plus d2 divided by 2. Pitch line velocity V is pi dn by 60,000 meter per second. Step 1. Identify the weaker member. So design must be based on the weaker member. Note, if both pinion and gear are made of same material, pinion is the weaker member. So hence design must be based on pinion. If pinion and gear are made of different materials, the member with minimum value of the product sigma d y is the weaker member, where sigma d is the allowable static stress. The allowable static stress for different materials is given here in this table, or in the question they may specify the allowable static stress. In the question, if they specify, take that value only. You need not to refer to the table. And Y is the Lewis form factor. This can be obtained from equation 12.5 CDE, which is given in page number 204 based on a tooth form here. 12.5 CDE. For 14.5 degree involute system, use this. For 20 degree involute system, use this. This is for full depth and this is for a stub tooth system. Okay, use this equation, where Z is a number of teeth. If sigma d1 y1 is less than sigma d2 y2, pinion is weaker. So the design must be based on the pinion. If sigma d2 y2 is less than sigma d1 y1, gear is weaker. So the design must be based on the gear. You know that 2 is for gear and 1 is for a pinion suffix. Sigma d1 y1 is the sigma d is nothing but allowable static stress. So y is the Lewis form factor. So Lewis form factor can be obtained from here by substituting the Z1 for pinion and Z2 for gear. Step 2. Calculate module M. So module is nothing but is the ratio of pitch diameter to the number of teeth. By equating the Lewis equation for beam strength to the tangential tooth load, that is by equating 12.5a with the equation 12.7a. Note, by equating 12.a with 12.5a with 12.7a, so you will end up with the m cube CV with some value. So assume a suitable value for m for LHS until you attain LHS is greater than or equal to RHS, where the CV is the velocity factor. Because of the inaccuracies and the non-uniform load acting, dynamic factor, that is velocity factor, we need to consider. Lewis equation of the beam strength is given by, that is by equating the Lewis equation of beam strength I mentioned here, that is 12.5a is given here. Ft is equal to pi into sigma d into Cv into b into y into m, 12.5a, and 12.7a is a tangential tooth load, okay, Ft to the tangential tooth load, Ft, that is 1000 into p into Cs by v, velocity, pitch line velocity. If center distance a, that is a is d1 plus d2 by 2, or pitch line velocity v is given, then module m can be directly obtained from this equation. Where k is b by m, k varies from 9.5 to 12.5, so one can take k as a 10. B is a face width. Capital Y or uppercase Y is equal to pi into small y. Small y is Lewis form factor, already discussed, and P is the circular pitch, that's equal to pi into m. Z is a d by m. Number of teeth is equal to pitch diameter divided by module. Cs is a service factor, which can be obtained from table 12.8, page 235. Based on a type of load and a type of service. For example, the type of load is a medium shock saw, and if it is working for 8 to 10 hours per day, CS is a 1.50. So like that we need to consider. So I mentioned that where CV is the velocity factor, equation 12.6a to E205, that the CV is based on the pitch line velocity V, and we have different equations proposed by Bartha. So like this, if velocity is up to 8 meter per second, CV velocity factor is 3.05 by 3.05 plus V, and so likewise if velocity is up to 13 meter per second, you can use this, and from 6 meter to 20 meter per second you can use this, and it is more than 20 meter per second you can use this equation for CV. The advantage of this comprehensive design procedure, what I am proposing is that So without referring to the design data handbook, so one can solve problems. This design procedure is mainly for students. So under VTU, Vishweshwara Technological University. So we already mentioned it's a pitch line velocity pi dn by 60,000. D is in mm and n is in rpm. This D and n for the weaker member. Torque is given by 9.5 into 10 to the power 6 into power divided by speed. So that power in kilowatt, speed in rpm. So after obtaining module, select a standard module from table 12.2, page 229. Select the nearest higher value. So here we have that table, recommended series of modules. Assume that after calculating, you obtain module as a say 3.43. The nearest higher value is seen here 3.5, but this is second choice. It's better to go with 4. If you obtain module as 3.43, it's better to select 4 as the standard module. This is preferred one because we are practicing this. I think nothing will happen if you consider 4. Okay, module from table nearest standard higher, nearest higher value. Step 3. Check for the stress. Calculate the induced stress. Sigma induced is equal to Ft by Byp from that equation 12.5a. Calculate the allowable stress. Sigma allowable is equal to sigma d into Cv. Next, compare sigma induced, that is induced stress with the allowable stress. If induced stress is less than allowable stress, then the design is satisfactory. Next, calculate the effective load or effective force. F effective is equal to Ft by Cv. Calculate the dynamic strength of the weaker member. Fs is equal to sigma d by m by using equation 12.16, page 208. Then find the factor of safety. FOS is equal to Fs by Ft. If factor of safety is greater than 1.5, the design is satisfactory. So please see that in this value of Ft, Cs must be included. If design is not satisfactory, increase the module and check for the stresses once again. Check these two. Step 4. If the design is satisfactory, calculate all the important dimensions such as face width, B is equal to 10 times module, pitch circle diameter, say D is equal to M into Z, that is module into number of teeth, both for pinion and gear. Okay, and all other important geometric parameters, so like addendum, dedendum, etc. from table 12.3 in page 229 or 12.4a in page 230. So take for example addendum. Addendum is equal to 1 module. So if you consider say addendum for 20 degree stub 2 system, it is 0.8 times module. So you have to, once you obtain the module, so for different pressure angle and tooth form, you can calculate all these parameters. Okay. Next, step 5, calculate dynamic load Fd by using Buckingham's equation is given by here. So Fd is equal to Ft plus Fi. So that is Fi is nothing but this K3 into V into in parenthesis C into B plus Ft divided by K3 into V plus under root C into B plus Ft, where C is the dynamic factor that is given by E divided by K1 into 1 by E1 plus 1 by E2. Depending this C is depending upon machining errors. So E is the measured error in action between the gears. This C value can be taken from table 12.12 or by using this equation you can obtain. So K1 for a different tooth form is given, and this K3 is 20.67 in SI units. We will look into this table 12.12 how to obtain the value of C if you don't use this equation for C. This E1 and E2 are moduli of elasticity for pinion and gear materials respectively. There is a note given here. So while solving problems, please keep an eye on this. So to find the dynamic factor C, take for example, the material is cast iron and steel. Okay, and the error you obtained from say here, this is maximum of probable error in action. Here we have table, here we have chart, here we have table, here we have chart. These are same and these two are same. Here note as given probable error figure 12.4 or maximum error table 12.13. Okay, so this is probable error figure 12.4, this one, and table this one should be less than permissible error from here. Okay, either from figure 12.5 or from table 12.14. Okay, that way I have to choose. Assume that, so we have a velocity, pitch line velocity 4 meter per second, and the error would be 0.071. So now if the class of gears are given, C, A, B, C. A is a first class commercial gears, so class 1. B, carefully cut gears, that is class 2. And C is a precision cut gears, so it is called class 3. I told that class 1, class 2, class 3 in the beginning. So now if the module, so based on the module also you can obtain a error. If a module is 4 mm and it is a class 1 gear, so in the question if it is not given, you have to assume suitable class. Okay, so now 4 is module, 4 mm is the module, and class is the first class commercial gears, class 1, then so you will have error is equal to 0.05. 0.05 is the error. So that E value can be considered in calculating the C value, capital C value from here. Assume that is 0.05 is the error. So here directly we don't have a 0.05 0.05. So now the material is cast iron and steel, say 20 degree full depth involute. This one is 20 degree full depth involute. This is stub tooth, this is 14.5 degree. So cast iron and steel are the materials. This is 20 degree. So usually cast iron for the gear, steel can be pinion. Okay, for pinion being the smaller, right, it's better to take a high strength material. So 20 degree. So now we don't have a 0.05 error, but by considering these two values, okay, these two values through interpolation, so you can obtain a value of C for error 0.05 mm. So linear interpolation also holds good for this one. Okay, so what is that? Linear interpolation is if for 0.04 C value is 314.6 Newton per mm or kilonewton per meter. So then for 0.05 mm, so what we can have that in order to find that this value 314.6 into 0.05 divided by 0.04, okay, gives you the value which lies between 0.04 and 0.06, that is for 0.05 mm C value. Or in this way also can be found out, that is 471.9 into 0.05 divided by 0.06 gives us the value for this. Okay, in that way you can find out. Or else by using that equation which was mentioned, that one, if you know E1 and E2 values, you can easily calculate this one. So directly you can obtain this C value by using this equation. Whichever is you feel comfortable, you can make use of that. Now step 6, calculate endurance strength, that is FEN. FEN is equal to sigma En B Y M. Sigma En is the endurance limit from table 12.15 page 238. B is the face weight, capital Y is pi into small y, M is the module, small y is the Lewis form factor. Sigma En can be taken from this table in order to find out FEN. Okay, sigma En is this. For material, say grey cast iron, if BHN is 160, sigma N is 83.5. So what are you doing is that for a weaker member, so you need to find out this FEN for the weaker member, so for which actually design is based. Okay, so now if the weaker member is gear and which is made of grey cast iron and its surface hardness is approximately say 150. Okay, so now 150 we don't have here, so you can nearly the 160 is there, we can take this value 83.5 is the sigma En. Okay, and substitute here to find out endurance strength. Next, step 7, compare dynamic load with that of endurance strength, which I calculated already. If dynamic load is less than endurance strength, the design is satisfactory. So margin of safety for different load conditions is given below. For steady load, so FEN is equal to 1.25 FD, and for pulsating load, FEN must be equal to 1.35 FD, and for shock load, so FEN, that is the endurance strength, must be equal to 1.5 times FD, and margin of safety can be calculated by using this expression. Margin of safety MS is equal to FEN by FD minus 1. Next, step 8, calculate the wear load. This wear load is also called the limiting load for wear. So equation 12.15a, page 208. So FW is equal to D1 BQK, that's equal to M into Z1. So D1 is nothing but M into Z1. So whether gear is weaker or pinion is weaker, always we must consider D1 here. Okay, that is pitch diameter of the pinion. So B is the face width, M is the modulus, Z1 is the number of teeth on a pinion. So Q is the ratio factor which is given here, and K is the load stress factor from table 12.16 and table 12.17. You can obtain that, or by using this equation we can find out K if you know this E1 and E2 values. So alpha is the pressure angle. So ES for steels can be approximated as, so ES is nothing but surface endurance limit. ES is surface endurance limit, that's equal to 2.75 into BHN minus 70. So now take for example the pinion material. The pinion material is steel here, and gear material is also steel. Pinion have surface hardness 350 and gear has surface hardness 250. Pinion has surface hardness 350 and gear has surface hardness 250. And you know that average of these two is actually 300 BHN. So now using that equation, okay, K is equal to sigma E square sin alpha, okay, by 1.4 into 1 by E1 plus 1 by E2. So you can find out unknown using that equation. Okay, sigma ES also you can have here E50, and if it is 14.5 degree, K value is 0.990, and if it is 20 degree, whether it is stub tooth or full depth involute, the K value is 1.344. Okay, so once you know those values, okay, this is for different materials. So take that K value and substitute here. Okay, Q easily can be calculated, so that FW can be calculated easily. So if you want to find out BHN, then materials are known to you. Find out sigma ES. Okay, substitute that sigma ES here after knowing the K value. You know that for safe design, FW must be greater than or equal to FD. FW must be greater than or equal to FD. FD already you have calculated. Okay, so then you substitute these values M, Z1, B, Q, B and Q. So K can be obtained. So after obtaining the K, by referring to the table 12.16 and 12.17, so you can substitute that K value here. So sigma ES will be obtained. So once you obtain sigma ES, you can easily find out BHN. If you don't know the BHN, that way can be done. So now step 9, compare dynamic load FD with that of wear load FW. So as we mentioned already, for safe design, FW, that is wear load, must be greater than or equal to FD. So if Fw is less than Fd, try any of the following, that is increase the surface hardness, that is increase BHN. So by knowing the value of K, that is low stress factor, the required BHN can be obtained from table 12.16 and table 12.17, or by using equation 12.15 BRD already I have mentioned. Increase the phase width B in order to increase Fw, so you can also try to increase phase width B, because Fw is equal to D1 B Q K is there. Okay, K is the low stress factor. Either you can increase K or B, because M and Z1 already you have that in your hand. Okay, if you are not permitted to change M, so B can be increased because the ratio actually varies from 9.5 M to 12.5 M. So that if M is fixed, so you can change the B value, you can increase the phase width value. Or calculate the dynamic load by reducing the tooth error to reduce FD. If tooth error is reduced, FD also reduces dynamic load. So when the dynamic load reduces, obviously Fw is greater than the dynamic load. So let us understand the beam strength. If you don't want to, you can stop there itself. So let us understand beam strength, because you know that one of the important steps in the spur gear design is a design for a beam strength. In addition to that, in the examinations, they may ask this question, okay, obtain a Lewis equation for beam strength. For that reason also you have to study this. Okay. Beam strength. The beam strength is the maximum value of the tangential force Ft that the tooth can transmit without bending failure. This Ft is actually suffix F suffix T. Once again, the beam strength is the maximum value of the tangential force Ft that the tooth cannot transmit without bending failure. So let us consider a tooth which is subjected to a normal force Fn as shown here. This force is resolved into two components, a radial component vertically, that is Fr, and a tangential component horizontally here as shown. This Fr induces compressive stress. The compressive stress is small, hence it is neglected. Whereas this tangential force Ft induces considerable amount of bending stress at the root. So here we have a parabola. This parabola shown here outlines a beam of uniform strength. So hence the weakest section of the gear tooth is at section A here, where the parabola is tangent to the tooth outline. So now assume this tooth as a cantilever beam shown here. This height of the tooth is considered as length of the cantilever beam here, and this tangential force, okay, which is acting on the face near the tip is uniformly distributed. B is the face width and this cantilever beam is fixed at the root. So Lewis has obtained an expression for the beam strength. The weakest section of the gear tooth is at the section AA, where the parabola is tangent to the tooth outline. Here. At the section AA, bending moment M is given by M is equal to tangential force Ft into tooth height h. But when you consider here, so this h is a length. So force into perpendicular distance. This force Ft into perpendicular distance is a bending moment. Hence, bending stress sigma is equal to M into C divided by I, moment of inertia. Substituting here, that M is Ft into h, C is T by 2, that is thickness by 2, and moment of inertia I is 1 by 12 into Bt cubed. By rearranging the terms, we get tangential force Ft is equal to sigma b T square by 6h. By multiplying the numerator and denominator of the right hand side by P, where P is the circular pitch, that's equal to pi m, we get Ft is equal to sigma into B into P into T square by 6 HP. Just multiply numerator and denominator by P. So for P we have substituted pi m here. So hence that equation becomes Ft is equal to sigma B pi m T square by 6h pi m. The ratio T square by 6 pi hm is a dimensionless quantity. This is a dimensionless quantity which is called the Lewis form factor Y. Then the equation becomes Ft is equal to sigma b pi m y, or simply sigma b y into p. This pi into m is nothing but p. This is given in a data handbook as a question 12.5a in page 204. Okay, so now once again we'll understand the beam strength. The beam strength is the maximum value of the tangential force Ft, this Ft, that the tooth can transmit without a bending failure. Okay, so that is the beam strength. Assume that the beam strength of a particular tooth is about 5000 Newton. If the tangential force is 5200 Newton, then the tooth will fail. So you know that after obtaining a module, you need to find out, you need to calculate addendum, dedendum, etc. Please look at this. What is this addendum, dedendum? Okay, pitch, circular pitch. What you can see here. Here to here it is pitch, circular pitch. That is pi into m. So everything is given here, and the pressure angle also you can see here. So all the gear tooth terminology you can understand. References. Machine design by Hall, Velovenko and Laughlin. Sham's Outline Series. Design of Machine Elements by V.B. Bandari. Fundamentals of Machine Component Design by Robert C. Juvenal and Kurt M. Marshak. Design of Machine Elements by J.B.K. Das and P.L. Srinivasmurthy. And finally, Design Data Handbook by K. Mahadevan and K. Balavira Reddy. Epilogue. For many students, mechanical engineering design is one of their first professional engineering courses, as distinguished from background courses in science and mathematics, where these mechanical engineering students are going to apply their knowledge, previous subjects knowledge here in this particular course. Professional engineering is concerned with obtaining solutions to practical problems. Professional engineering is nothing but obtaining solutions to practical problems. Juvenal, R.C. and Marshak opined, because of the professional nature of the subject, most problems in mechanical engineering design do not have a single right answer. Thank you.